Some of you expressed concern about the length of these videos. For your convenience, check out the table of contents on the right hand side. Feel free to start at the beginning and work your way through the video for some awesome in-depth insights. But if you see what you came for, or just want to see something over that you didn't catch the first time, please feel free. And as always guys, thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, I'm Shaft of the Clinic Casting Crew. Welcome to another episode of Crash Course. Today we're going to be looking at Zerg vs Terran. In particular, we're going to be looking at a mech matchup. Since Reapers and HyuN's have become so popular in the metagame, this has been a very viable alternative for players. You know, people have always really liked their mech styles, but it really seems to have come into vogue here lately. And we're going to talk a lot about, you know, why that is, how it's oftentimes structured, and how you can exploit that as a Zerg player. This game was actually played in the FBM2014, and we're going to be looking at a really strong Team Liquid player, Liquid Bunny, versus, well, one of my favorite players, HyuN. And we're going to see what HyuN does once he knows it's mech. Now, there's a couple of things I do want you to know going into this. Most particularly that this build itself can go right into normal play, no problem. If you scout bio, which has a certain look to it, which we're going to talk about, then this build can go straight into whatever your normal style is. But this is an adaptation. Once you scout mech, and you know, some key timings of when to scout for it. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Hope you guys enjoy. One thing you'll notice with mech is oftentimes the player will go for a command center first. Now that does not mean that all command center first are mech, because you can still go into bio off this, and it doesn't mean that you can't go into mech off of Reapers. It's simply one of the signs that kind of lean you towards thinking, hey, he could be going for mech. Another thing that you'll see a third command center very quickly in mech games, but you won't see the gas taken. If you were to scout Liquid Bunny right now, you would see CC first into barracks with no gas taken. He will take 2 gas at 415 to make up for this. Here's the fast command center, and we'll be seeing that 415 gas in just a moment. There you go. And with the double gas, he's able to delay his gas just a little bit and get the command center, the extra third command center, just by focusing more on minerals. And then he's able to get double gas in order to get his mech stuff out a little bit quicker. This is one key thing to look for with Terran openers when they're going for mech. The gas is hugely important. Take a look at this flowchart. Gas and map control. The earlier factory, I mean, he's not getting it at the earliest. That would have been a gas opener without the command center. But when he goes into the factory, he will begin that here. Yep, there we go. He's going to go for HyuN's, and that's going to allow him to take some map control. He's not going to try and stop HyuN from getting a third. He's not really going to try and get any drone kills with it. However, it's going to stop Lings from parking at the Zonaga Tower. He's going to be able to poke and prod and get an idea of what's going on. His goal is to just make it economically impossible for HyuN to use Lings to take map control. Remember, Lings are drones that are not made, so HyuN would have to be suicidal to make an inordinate amount of Lings once he sees HyuN's. Now, we are moving into the upgrades and defense portion of the Terran opener. Now, keep in mind, we're looking at the Terran here before the Zerg for a very strong reason. The Zerg adapts to the Terran, not the other way around. So that's why we're looking at this first. So bear with me, we're going to go through this very quickly. Here at the 7-minute mark, we have 2 armories going down. Starport's about halfway done, and we have our first tank finishing. It is awesome that this Overlord is coming right on through here and scouting everything out. Now, take a look real quick. This is actually so awesome for HyuN to have done. He got really fast Overlord speed. Check that out. His Overlords are just insane movement. Now, pause. In scouting what he has seen, HyuN has saw the starport. He has seen a factory. He has seen that it is 3 CCs, 2 gas, 2 armory. He is also knows from earlier that there's 2 gas down here. 4 gas, 3 bases, 2 armories. That has to be mech. Part of HyuN's build has actually been to get Overlord speed. But another part of his build is this timing here. Okay, we're going to back this up. Alright, and Pneumatized Carapace wrapping up. Boom. As soon as it's done, he sends this guy right on in. He sees a siege tank parking. He knows this is impregnable, but he knows at this point, everything he's going to do from this point on is done because he is absolutely certain his opponent is going mech. There is no second guessing. There's no questioning. The reason I'm saying all this, let's just underline it to a point, absolutely blank, bottom line statement. Scout. When you scout, you're going to know exactly what your opponent is. You have like a fork in the road. You can use your opener till you reach a certain point, which is right here at 7:15. And then if he goes bio, you go one way. And if he goes mech, you're going the other way. So, as our flowchart shows, the Terran has certain steps that he's going to do with a mech style. After this upgrades in defense, he's going to take map control again. Map control is a huge part of mech. Here's why. There's certain key timings that mech can hit. There's late game mech, there's a mid game push mech, you know, with like the Hellbats and stuff like that. But it's up to the Zerg to determine which one it is. So HyuN doesn't know that it's going to be a late game mech just yet, but the third base already built does lean towards it. So bear that in the back of your mind, but he's going to need to get some map control and use some key scouting to stop that. Now, Overlord scouting, too heavily depending on it, means Vikings. Vikings are huge in mech. In fact, I would go so far as to say, when you see Reaper opening with this kind of style, you always see this starport, and the starport has 3 options. You can make a Banshee, which could mean mech, could mean bio. You can't really claim anything from that, but either way, it's delaying what you're going to want to get. So Banshee is just a little cheese that doesn't really get you your core composition. So not really something I worry about, easily scoutable. Now, if you see a later starport, it's probably going to be bio just because of the way that works out. A starport at this time that's not a Banshee, oh yeah, seems about 70% of the time that's going to be mech. Now, that's not a perfect bet, but it's a really strong percentage of the time. Sometimes Terran just wants to clear himself out for drops. But if you're not on a map that lends itself easily to drops, like, say, a merry-go-round, probably not something you're going to be seeing. If this is Habitation Station, probably would say this isn't such a big tell. You look at your map, figure it out kind of for yourself, but at this particular moment, yeah, it's definitely a tell towards mech if the 2 armories wasn't. Okay, so we've seen what the Terran has done so far in this game. We want to see what HyuN's base build is, and you'll see that it's not any different than anybody else's, but I still want you to see it for yourself. So we're going to zoom right on through this real quick. Hatchery, pool, gas, all at normal timings. The one thing he does a little different, a little earlier than some, is getting this fast overlord speed. Still getting the 4 lings for defense against Reapers, still getting 2 queens. Metabolic boost, still just fine, but he leaves one guy on gas. Here we go, here's the difference. He pulls the 2 guys off of gas once he gets metabolic boost. He is going to leave those guys off of gas until he reaches 44 out of 44 supply. Now, 44 out of 44 supply, it's a pretty common time to start worrying about gas for Zerg. So, yeah, makes perfect sense. At that same time, he's going to have enough gas to make his overlord speed and a 3rd base. Well, he doesn't need gas for a 3rd base, but he's going to build it at the same time. But just having this one guy on gas doesn't really cut into your mineral production too much. As you can see, he's already at ideal saturation, 2 per mineral patch, 16. And he just leaves this guy over here saying, alright, mine, cool. And that's going to give him overlord speed, which, as we saw, is a pretty big deal. He does get a 3rd queen, not going overboard, but he is getting a 3rd queen for creep spreadage. Awesome. As you see, he reaches 44, boom, gas over here. 3rd base, boom, overlord speed, awesome. And then he takes another gas. Okay. So he takes the extra gas once he replenishes these guys and gets overlord speed. Okay, but once he's got overlord speed, he waits till he's got 50 gas mined from this, and then he builds this. But you know, it doesn't have to be that precise. HyuN does it that precisely because he's HyuN. But if you just remember, hey, put these guys in here, overlord speed, next gas, you'll do fine. Don't worry about being 100% perfect. In any case, we saw the overlord sack at 7:15. That was pretty crucial timing. And bear in mind that HyuN has been building queens this entire time. So not only did he build that 3rd queen, he's got a 4th one just popped out and a 5th one in production. So that means his creep spreadage is going to be pretty insane. Alright. So far, we've looked at Liquid Bunny's opener as mech. Now we've looked at HyuN's opener and what leads up to him scouting it. From this point on, everything we see HyuN is directly catered towards his knowledge of the mech game. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to be taking a look at Liquid Bunny's version of mech, some key weaknesses of any mech style, and what HyuN is doing in his gameplay to take advantage of that. See you on the other side. Welcome back, guys. We were looking at mech. So far we've seen Liquid Bunny's mech, and we've seen what HyuN does every Zerg vs Terran, or at least when he's going for you know, his standard Zerg vs Terran. We see how he gets in an early scout and how he utilizes that information. What we're going to be looking at from here on is how he's going to adapt his gameplay to what he has seen from the Terran. Liquid Bunny, of course, being the Terran player, gets to kind of set the pace of the game. It's HyuN's job to react, and that's why we're taking a look pretty heavily at Liquid Bunny's build order and what its priorities are. At this stage in the game, we are heading out of upgrades and defense for Liquid Bunny. So far, you know, he's been getting siege tanks out. His first siege tank's about to spawn here in just a moment, and he's going to go ahead and plop that right on down. So this is definitely him setting up his defense. He's getting upgrades in the form of setting up these armories. These, of course, will be pumping out mech upgrades for the rest of the game. So he's just going ahead and prioritizing himself towards that. His next priority, of course, is going to be to establish map control. We'll see what he does over the course of the next few minutes in order to take control of the map, and what HyuN can do to contest that. One thing that HyuN has done to really seize control of this game here, let's flip right on over here. Yeah, as you can see, the Overlord spread is insane. With such an early Overlord speed, it's going to be really hard for the Terran to push these Overlords back. We've already seen that he is working on a Viking, which, yes, could be pretty darn good, but can be outrun by Overlords with speed. So these Vikings are going to have to be at full capacity trying to take down these Overlords, and that's going to eat up a lot of Liquid Bunny's micro and attention span. So HyuN just being a little bit extra bit annoying with an upgrade he's already got. In any case, this is just going to be a contest between the map control. We're going to see some upgrades and everything. And once he's got his upgrades and stuff started, Liquid Bunny will go straight into maximizing his production. He'll throw on some extra factories for us. We've got an engineering bay, 2 factories going down now. And we're going to have our engineering bay, which means we're going to have some turrets. There's no way that Liquid Bunny can know whether Mutalisks are going to be coming at him, and he doesn't have Thors out just yet in order to deal with massive numbers of Mutalisks. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, you never know, Bunny might be really really good at dealing with mutas, but HyuN's not going to be going mutas for a while this game. In fact, you already see what he's doing. He is going for that Hive. Of course, you probably already knew that. You read the title, I'm sure. But before we go to take a look at HyuN's Hive and how awesome that is, let's look at the production phase of Terran's base. We see this first factory. These 2 factories went down just about 2 minutes ago. They're still working on their add-ons. And then we've got these 2 more factories. So this is 5 factories. That means, and HyuN knows this, that if my opponent is going to hit me with 5 factories, the earliest possible timing is before 10 minutes. Knowing your opponent's not going to hit you before 10 minutes because of what you scouted like 3.5 minutes ago, 7 minutes, gives you 3 minutes of absolute safety. You don't have to make army, you can take extra bases, and you can make a ton of drones. We see 77 drones right here for HyuN. We see an awesome 4th base. Let's take a look at the production now of Liquid Bunny. As you can see, before we go into HyuN's awesome 10-minute Hive build, let's look at why it's important for HyuN to know when his opponent can attack him. If my opponent wants to attack me with 5 factories, it's going to come at least later than 10 minutes. You can see that clearly here. Liquid Bunny has done an excellent build towards this, but this is the earliest he can get the production up. So at this point, Liquid Bunny knows one of 2 things: either only 3 factory production, which is going to be a really weak timing attack, possibly just Hellbats, a Marauder or 2. Usually it'll have a second barracks though, so he would have seen that when scouting. Or it's going to be a later attack, like we're seeing here, that's not going to arrive until 13, 14, 15 minutes. What HyuN is going to do is actually astounding. We've got a Hive on the way. He has literally just built nothing but workers and taken a 4th base, which he's immediately saturating, taking the gas on, and he will continue to take another base. Very quickly expanding, very much taking a lot of risks and building a lot of drones. But these are not risks, because he knows his opponent can't attack him simply because of what he scouted 3.5 minutes ago. Okay, so we've seen what Liquid Bunny's production looks like. Let's see what HyuN is going to do, knowing what his opponent can be doing. Now, he's got this really early layer that was about 7.5 minutes, at which point he takes his other 2 gas. He had already had the 2 gas up. He's taking 2 evolution chambers, and he is just going to pump up 1/1 upgrades. He's going to get a really early infestation pit, some roach speed, and at 9 minutes and 45 seconds, he'll begin Hydralisk range, his first Hydralisk upgrade. And you see he's already begun that 4th base that we were just talking about earlier. He's got great drone saturation, already up to 61. He is completely safe in every possible way, every possible meaning of the word. Now, here at 9:45, he is building a couple of roaches. These are dubbed panic roaches. He's just getting a small contingency of forces that he can spread out across the map and intercept his opponent's forces with. Just in case his opponent tries to throw something at him, he's going to have a small core of units that can be added to very, very quickly. Also keep in mind he is keeping a very healthy amount of overlords out on the field, and it's always important when doing Roach Hydra to build way more overlords than you think you need, because you never know when your opponent could attack you, and those roaches cost a lot of supply. And look at that overlord spread, but now the overlords have been picked off the map quite a bit. The creep now has taken a huge priority and will continue to do so. Staying on top of this creep is huge because there's not much mech can do. They get one chance to move out. When they move out and a counterattack hits, they can't really go home. If they go home, they lose all momentum and basically allow Zerg to take the entire map. If they don't go home, it really becomes an awkward situation for the meching player. At this stage in the game, we are moving into the trade section for our Zergy McFerguson. As you can see already, he has begun producing a massive amount of these Hydralisks. These Hydralisks are going to be added to just 9 roaches, 13 Hydras, 9 roaches. He's finishing up roach speed now. Notice he has already got a Hive nearly finished before glial reconstitution. He started his Hive 20 seconds after roach speed. He is only just now finishing 1-1. This is how fast Hive is. He definitely has put a lot of his gas efforts towards that Hive. Now that is going to come with some sacrifices. Comparing this to a normal Zerg build, his economy is not as good as it would have been early game had he gone for a more standard Zerg play. However, in the late game, it's caught up and perhaps even surpassed that. The real key is that HyuN has cut his army until 11 minutes. He has got 9 roaches, has no other defenses, and has no need of them. It's been overlords and creeps keeping him alive, that map control. Alright. It is now time for him to get an army, because he is not 100% sure what his opponent's doing. His opponent could be attacking now. So he is getting up some roaches, he is getting up some Hydralisks, just long enough to keep him alive until he gets the Hive up and running, and whatever he wants out of the Hive is out. But you see him pumping out the roaches, pumping out the Hydras, trying to poke around. The creep is at his opponent's front door. He has got the high ground. He is using the high ground basically just as a rallying point as he pumps Roach Hydra and now 4 Vipers into the mix. He's adding on just so much stuff. He's now getting the Hydralisk speed, burrow. Oh my. And now he's building just for a big timing attack. He's doing it really well just by staying on his own creep, aiming for different angles, forcing his opponent, if his opponent's paying any attention whatsoever to the mini-map or to the map at all, to reposition his defenses. And of course this tank line right here, a little bit vulnerable as opposed to coming in from this angle. And here we go, Siege Tank's actually getting a couple of good shots here on the Roach Hydras. But before this battle commences really, notice something. This battle, according to the Units Lost tab, is gonna favor Liquid Bunny hugely. In fact, I think a lot of players, when watching this battle, are gonna say, WTF, HyuN? Why would you do that? That was so dumb. I thought you were a good player. And such. Toxic community, really. I still love you guys, though. Anyways, I want you to look past that a little bit and think, why? Why would such a good player do this? He's at 200 supply. He is freeing up supply. The Roach Hydra was just an effort at not dying while his Hive got up. Well, guess what? The Hive is up. He's got some pretty good upgrades. He's got 2-2 on the way now. He's got Vipers. He can go Broodlord. He can go Double Spire. He can go Ultralisk. There's so much HyuN can do. He can go Swarm Host. The book is his. In fact, look at that creep spread. Look at those freaking bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases right now. Possibly a 6th and 7th soon. So he has basically taken map control without winning a single fight, because he knew that his opponent couldn't attack him. Whenever he felt like his opponent might be able to attack him, he pumped out huge numbers of Roach Hydra, just like you see right here. Now, he's reached a supply max. He has a fairly healthy bank, but really healthy income. So now he wants to resupply. Let's see what happens. Some really good yanks. That ooze of ducks, very, very powerful. Good, more yanks on the Vikings. He's really focusing on these Vikings right now, which is interesting. Remember the importance of Overlord so far in this game. And now he's happy to go right on home. Also, Vikings, of course, hurt Vipers like crazy. And there we go. There's the Double Spire. So we're now going to see HyuN probably going for Broodlords. But in the meantime, 7 Swarm Hosts go down, and we have Enduring Locusts popping up. Now, Enduring Locusts. That's pretty good. HyuN taking, a 6 base now, pumping out a couple Swarm Hosts. This is really coming down to a contain. His opponent cannot walk out the front door without walking on a creep. There is no taking of this base, no taking of this base. Not without HyuN's knowledge. And HyuN has so much of this map. Look at this. All of this is HyuN right now. And it's just so much. Liquid Bunny, literally, moment by moment, is getting choked out. We've got these forward spines now in position for Swarm Hosts. Great positioning. You always want Spine Crawlers with your Swarm Hosts to retreat to. And he's just going to take the rest of these bases. Spire upgrades are going to be pumping out for the Broodlords. This is just a unlosable game right now for HyuN. Liquid Bunny has to make something happen. He's trying to reach his 200 max. That's really his only hope of savior. And his only hope of doing that is to get this 4th base down. He's got a really weak composition right now. It's mostly just Hellbat Viking tank. And that's not going to do that great against Swarm Host. If you get caught out of position, not leapfrogging those tanks even once, that's going to be a fatal flaw. And you know he knows this. some good counterattacks with these roaches. A great thing about the late game is you can really utilize small numbers of your weak tier 1 units and just hit all over the map. Try to find your opponent's weak points. Not the most exciting style in the world to watch, I will admit, but when you're playing it, honestly, these counterattacks are your favorite thing in the world. They get you so excited, and the rest here is just to distract your opponent while you do that. So it's really a fun style to play, just maybe not to watch. Either way, it's super effective. HyuN used this with great efficacy during this tournament. And as you can see, we are going into the death throes now of Liquid Bunny, who has got his 4th base and has technically won every battle thus far. Still getting slowly chucked out in this game of economic warfare. I think I said chucked out, I meant choked out. And here we go. Huge Mutalisk swarm swinging in here. Chitinous plating getting ready. Ultralisk Cavern complete. We'll have those coming in. We've got 3/3 ranged upgrades, melee upgrades on the way now as well. We've already got adrenal glands for these lings. Crazy amounts of Zerg everything. Every upgrade in the book. Huge economy swinging in. This, my friends, is how you play Zerg. Get to the late game. Get your 7-8 bases on. And swarm. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I am Shaft of the Clinic Casting Crew. Today we learned all about how to both scout in Zerg vs. Terran, how to open in Zerg vs. Terran, and how to react to mech in a very effective, safe way that stays true to the swarm colors. Thank you to the viewers for tuning in. Thank you to HyuN for letting us steal this build. If you like this game, please subscribe to our channel. We are definitely going to be pumping out a lot more of these videos. So thank you so much, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
신의 선수가 되는 거고요. 그렇죠. 멀티에 방해도 받지 않으면서 안전하게 해주고 있는 모습인데 맹독충의 스피드업이 되기 전에 즉 전방 위에서만 싸워야 되고 전방만 좀 제거하고 맞으면 돼요. 네. 여기 스캐너만 뿌리고 이 균형을 살려가지고 그렇습니다. 이대로 대응 잘못하면은 그 상황에 주어질 수 있으나 현재까지는 준비를 이동 선수가 조금 더 잘해주고 있었다. 이렇게 생각을 해야 될 것 같습니다. 그렇죠. 그 상황이 진행 선수가 좋습니다. 여기 인디가 계속 앞서서 싸움을 걸 수 있는 건 보통